Yo, what's good, y'all? Welcome. Another episode of Chopping It Up. And y'all see him right here, man. Y'all might have heard all his incredible mashups on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and everything. And now the producer, or one of the producers, main producers, I'm going to say, of Fat Joe's latest single, Sunshine. We have Amorphous with us in the building with us right now. Welcome up.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here at 104.5, The Beat, just ready to rep the city and get into some things.
Yes, sir, man. We were speaking off camera for a little bit. You also had an interview with my good friend Ronnie over at XL 1067. He's also in Kiss in LA. So y'all need to connect when you go to LA again. You feel me?
Yeah, 100%.
But just speaking to him, he was like, listen, like Amorphous is such a down to earth dude. And like we've known of you for quite some time, but I feel like during this quarantine time, just gave everybody an opportunity to just sit down and listen. And we needed good vibes. And that's exactly what you brought to us during this quarantine. So I want to, number one, thank you for that. And also congratulate you on just keeping the ball rolling, man, just staying consistent. And now everything's popping off.
Thank you.
Of course, man. Because people don't really know. Well, number one, you're not originally from Orlando, right?
I am not. I am originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, born and raised. Gotta rep Philly as well. You know, I rep both cities. Here we go. I moved to Orlando in 2016 for college. I went to Folsom University and I majored in film.
Beautiful. That's another part that a lot of people don't know, the filmmaker side, which we're going to get into.
Yeah.
I want to get into that. Like, what tools of the trade did you learn at Full Sail that allowed you the ability to get to where you're at right now?
Right. Well, ever since I was 8 or 9, I was editing film work. And so that's kind of what I wanted to do going into Folsom University. But the program was a 20-month program, and they teach you a little bit of everything. So they teach you about screenwriting, they teach you about grip work, light work, directing, even a little bit of acting. Sometimes as students, we have to act in each other's films. So it was a great way for me to learn a lot of different, like you said, tools of the trade, because my ultimate goal and dream as a filmmaker is obviously to direct. And the best directors know a little bit about each department. So grade school really was happy with how everything turned out. I think I learned a lot, had a lot of hands-on experience that has really prepared me for what was next.
That's perfect. So how far into your education did you get before things started to reach traction out here?
Well, I was specifically in Orlando. I mean, I had made I was kind of popping on SoundCloud. That's how people knew me before I went to school. Back in when I was in Philly in high school, I kind of made a little bit of a name for myself. So when I was out here in Orlando, my first kind of little taste of realizing that this wasn't just internet stuff was when Monty Booker from Selection came and did a show here. And I go to see it with my friend, just waiting in line. And like 5 people come up to me. They're like, "Yeah, you're that Amorphous dude on SoundCloud. Like, your productions are fire." You're like, "What?" And I was just like, "Okay, Orlando, I see what's happening." So it was kind of that was happening at the same time. And I did a Beyonce and Jay-Z mashup project while I was in film school that blew up. It was just kept grinding. I didn't even really talk about it while I was in film school. I was there to learn. But outside of it, if you knew who I was, you knew it was popping.
If you know, you know. And I think that's an important thing, not only just about your journey, but also just to let people out there know that it may seem like somebody pops off overnight. Now, you've been doing this for years.
Yes.
Like
A long journey.
mashup. I remember the first one I heard of you, it must have been the Rihanna and Aaliyah joint, the Needed Me and One in a Million.
Yeah.
And that was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, that was 2017.
Yeah. So you fast forward to now, all the work that you've been able to put in, all the, catalog you've been able to accumulate up to this point has, prepared you to be here when everything pops off. Oprah sends you, you know what? I'm not even going to say what I want you to do, just real quick. Just kind of catalog all the things that happened one by one this year. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like everything off up to now.
Okay. Well, I think the biggest thing that started off for 2020 for me was Division reached out. And I'm a huge Division fan, but I had made a mashup of Usher's Nice and Slow in one of Division's tracks called In Between. In 1985, he's like a brother to me. He's so dope. He's so humble. And he hears it, him and Daniel, they reached out. They're like, "Bro, we've been watching you for a while. You're a genius. We want to turn this into an original track." And I was like, okay. So I've always looked up to them. I always went to work with them. So that was like my first big production placement. Even though it was my idea, that I was credited as co-producer and everything. And then, with pandemic, I was kind of sitting in my room, just kind of honing my craft and just having fun, doing mixes, doing production stuff, like editing trailers. And then like early November comes around and I had a mashup that I made of Ariana Grande's Motive and Nelly Furtado's Promiscuous that blew up all over TikTok.
Yes, sir.
And then like 3 days later, I had a mashup that I did randomly of Megan Thee Stallion's Body and Travis Porter's Bring It Back that really blew up all over TikTok and over the internet. And so around that time, I was like really just putting my own face out there, just like showing me, mixing the actual tracks and, the mashups and all that jazz. And so now there was an actual face to the name. So next time they see my face on the timeline, it's usually a new mashup or something. And so it was slowly like really starting to gain a little bit of traction around that point. I think I started off early November with, I think 10,000. And then like by a week and a half later, I had like 12,000. So it was like I gained 2,000 followers in just a span of like a week or so. And then the week that changed my life was Thanksgiving week. And I basically was still putting out like the mashup and stuff. I did a lot of Chloe and Halle mashups. Shout out to Chloe and Halle. Love them so very much. But it was the Rihanna and Luther Vandross mashup that I did on Thanksgiving morning. Just a random idea that came to me when I woke up. You see me on my Ableton Push just jamming, mixing it. I'm thinking about my dad. I'm thinking about how much I love Riri. And just took off, changed my life. Next thing you know, Janet Jackson's shouted me out. LL Cool J shouted me out. And I'm on texting basis with LL Cool J. Then MC Hammer's giving me props. John Legend's giving me props. It's just so many people that I look up to and admire, just like reaching out to me. And it seemed like every day since Thanksgiving, it just kept topping itself. And next thing you know, I wake up in the morning and I had tweeted before I went to sleep in early December because my laptop had been giving me issues. And I just said, you know what? You might as well just put that good type of stuff into the universe. And I tweeted Apple and I said, can you guys please give me a new laptop? I promise you I'll make good use of it if you can see what's happening. And wake up the next morning and Oprah tweets me and she's like, done. New Apple laptop on the way to keep us dancing into 2021. And I just sat there for like a good hour reading that message over and over again. I'm like, that's Oprah, right? That's Oprah Winfrey. And then that was around the time, things started happening. Joe reached out, and it's just been an incredible 2 months, and It's just the beginning. And I think that's the thing that excites me the most.
Correct. And I think one of the main things as well that goes along with your story is just being able to, you've already been putting in the work, but you made the decision to put your face out there and continue working so that people know, listen, you hear my mashups, by the way, this is me. And also just putting that energy in the air. I don't know about you. I'm a big component of, you have to put that energy in the air if you want it to manifest.
Right.
And like, cause you're already putting the work in. It's like, you know what? Like you said, the laptop situation, let me see, who knows? You at most, you were like, all right, maybe Apple Tech is going to get back to me, Apple support, whatever the case is. Oprah sees that and, you know what I mean, takes that and gives you something that you never would have expected. You feel me? Like, how surreal is that feeling, just as you just said, being able to be on text, basis with these legends?
It's, I think I've handled it pretty well, only because a lot of this stuff I have kind of manifested and put it out into the universe. Even the Division project, 5 years ago when they dropped September 5th, I told my best friend, we would talk and say, we want to work with Division. We want to have a release on OVO or Warner. Fast forward a couple years in May, now I have a release working with Division. And so a thing of like, getting recognized by Janet Jackson or, Chloe and Halle, like that type of stuff, I kind of, not that I knew it would happen, especially not this kind of way, but just putting that energy out there that when it did, I was like, oh, wow. It's still extremely surreal, but I'm just like, you kind of put in a lot of this work.
You're
and ready, 100% ready for it. But yeah, I mean, it's really, definitely, it comes in waves. Sometimes I will sit and really let it all hit me and I'll burst into tears just about everything that has happened, that's transpiring. It's such a blessing, and it's something that I don't take for granted. Outside of just, the celebrities and the legends that I look up to, but just the baseline support, the people that are like me, the people that have been where I have been. And that's what has gotten to me the most, is to hear from other people that were just in my same predicament 2 months ago, saying that I inspire them. So it's incredible.
Yes, sir. And on top of that, you just being the one to go on social, not just be a ghost. You're always on Twitter. I think you tweeted not too long ago. Listen, things are getting a little crazy. I'm gonna cool off on tweeting, but
Yeah.
basically you're live tweeting everything happening exactly in that moment. And I think that you doing just that made a whole bunch of other people who may not have been a part or attached themselves to your wheelhouse. They attach themselves because they're like, oh, this is happening right now.
Right.
You understand? So it's not like you know things are going on behind the scenes, whatever. No, you're letting them know, like, oh, this is happening. No way. When someone retweets you, you're like, nah, get out of here. You feel me? Like the
Right.
Chloe and Halle one the other day. That one boosted mine because we all, you know, Ungodly Hour. We love the album. We love them. Like, there's just presence is so dope. And I remember,
100%.
I believe you did a mashup on them a long time ago, right?
Mhm.
And
I'm always doing Chloe and Halle stuff.
yeah, so it's like they tweet back, and you're just like, oh, what is going on? Like, what is happening?
Literally, I mean, literally back in August, it was when they first my first interaction with Chloe and Halle. I did a mashup of their track Busy Boy and Alia's If Your Girl Only Knew. And they were kind of like, that's when they first like quoted me and everything. And so over the course of a couple months, you know, they definitely noticed who I was.
Right.
And you know, Thanksgiving morning, actually, right before I did the Rihanna Luther mashup, they followed me and they were telling me like I was a genius or whatever. And I was freaking out about that. But then to just put into the universe, like, I want to legitimately collaborate with these two amazingly talented sisters that I've been a fan of since they first came onto the YouTube scene. And just the conversations that have transpired since then, I'm just like, mind blown. But that's the importance of also speaking stuff into existence. The power of the tongue, it's really powerful. And that's what goes into confidence and believing in yourself. And no matter, all these people can do is really say no. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. Now the whole the Fat Joe situation where he heard, of course, the mashup. You know what I mean? How did that process go? That out of nowhere he hit your phone like, oh, by the way, we're trying to make this a single.
that was really a funny experience. So that was around the time when Oprah is just tweeting me and saying she's going to give me a lot. I mean, it was that entire crazy week. So I've never really been too well versed in terms of like Instagram DMs, like, and all that type of stuff. So I didn't really see when a lot of like people of Fat Joe stature messaging me or whatever. But somehow I catch it and I see that Fat Joe, he DMs me and he's like, bro, what's up? I'm trying to get in touch with you ASAP. Like, you know, what's your number? Whatever. So I'm like, okay. So I give him my number, and within 0.5 seconds of me texting my number or DMing my number, he FaceTimes me, and he's in his Miami house right outside, you know, on the couch and stuff with his family. His family's there, his daughter's there, and he's like, you know how he is. He's like, yo, Amorphous, what's up, bro? First of all, how old are you? And I'm like, oh, I turned 23 in like 3 weeks. He's like, 20. You look like you 15. You a young genius. Yo, I want to run something by you, know, because you seriously, you know, I've practically been in retirement really for a while now. You know, I do something here and there, but you lit a fire in me. And that Rihanna, that Luther, yo, I just was in the studio. I rapped over. We want to put it out officially. You know, we want to make this a big thing. We want to have you involved in it from the jump, production. You know, Dre from Cool and Dre sent it to us, and we were like, oh man, just see you, you know, jamming, doing your thing. You were being yourself. We want to turn this into an actual thing. And it's so funny because Fat Joe, we were both recording the conversation. I had no idea he was recording on his end.
Yeah.
But he posted it on his Instagram the other day, and you could just see my face just like light up just all over the place. And luckily, you know,
he was like, so like, do you like it? You're like, what do you mean?
What do you mean? Do I like it? First of all, I'm trying to hear because it's over FaceTime. But you know, I love it, and I was just, you know, thank goodness, you know, I had management and stuff in place at the time, so it was just like super easy to go forward with everyone involved with the track. And shout out to Joe, shout out to Cool and Dre. I mean, they are some really incredible people.
Yeah, that happened. You see yourself on BET Jams, things of that nature, and it's like you just see it in your mind, like everything's coming to fruition, man. Like it's so dope. As I said before, seeing everything just unfold for you in such an organic way. Because as you said, even Fat Joe throughout the whole quarantine, he was doing his Joker show. You know what I mean? He was just doing people. You know, you may have seen him make music here and there, but for you to be able to create something going into 2021 after the crazy year we had in 2020 that
Yeah.
inspired not only him, but these numerous people who are contacting you on like, socials and everything. It's incredible to see, my brother, for real, for real.
Thank you. That was the biggest thing to me in terms of like being on at the video shoot last Monday with Joe and with Khaled, with Diddy, and with Dre. I mean,
Crazy.
just you see the pictures that I post, and it's like little 5'3" me in the middle of these like 6 foot like moguls, and the fact that nobody even better than I. It was like I belonged there, and everybody was just like Diddy. Everyone was just telling me, Khaled, just be yourself. Like, don't ever let anyone take that away from you. Don't let anyone take that joy away from you. You are a genius. The industry came to you, not the other way around. And so you don't have to feel afraid to. You don't have to feel like you have to switch up or do anything crazy. Just be yourself, and the energy will be reciprocated.
It's gotten you this far, my brother. And as you said, I know it's just the beginning. We're really looking forward to seeing like what you have on the cusp. I know 2021, you already have some stuff lined up. We're not going to talk about it. We may do a little later. We're going to talk about it, but I do want to get into filmmaking, man, because that is an important part of your journey. I know that Rihanna documentary you did while you were in school, I believe, already hit 1 million views. You know what I mean? So how do you plan on incorporating your filmmaker status into your production and everything now that everything's happening for you right now?
It's it was always music and film for me ever since I was 4 years old. My favorite film of all time when I was a kid was Titanic because of the way it was shot, because of the scale. And I always said I wanted to edit and direct films one day. And so, I've always been doing little trailers and documentaries about, musical artists that I look up to. I did an Aaliyah documentary, and then I did a Rihanna documentary, which she did see a couple years ago. And that's how she kind of followed me on Twitter and everything. But even in my trailers recently, I always tried to incorporate like sound design. Like I would score the trailers myself and like kind of just, that would be like my portfolio. And so a lot of people, like earlier last year in 2020, Ava DuVernay, after a year later, saw the trailer that I made of for When They See Us. I did a trailer that used Beyonce's Freedom that I rescored entirely and edited myself, and that almost landed me a job with Ava DuVernay. So it was like I knew people in the film industry were taking notice, and even now with all the mashups and stuff that were blowing up, the film stuff, that's what shocked me the most is how well that's been going behind the scenes. I mean, obviously certain things that I cannot necessarily talk about, but just it's neck and neck, music and film, the opportunities right now. And that warms my creative little heart because as much as music and film go together, it can be a little bit difficult to maintain those and grow a career in both at the same exact time. Usually you want to establish yourself in one aspect of the industry first and then, transfer to something else. But it's literally been neck and neck together. And so it's been incredible, and I'm just really, really excited. I cannot wait for people to see all the announcements and stuff that are to come, and some big, big things.
Very excited for the year and on that you're about to have. So also, what I wanted to say real quick before we go, you did drop the Rihanna jam session you was doing the other day, right? That's out right now. People can listen to it on SoundCloud.
Yes.
So go listen to that. Reed's vocals, Amorphous production, very, very dope. Also, let them know where they can reach you on your socials.
Okay, so as of today, because it could be changing, but you could reach me on Twitter at Lone Amorphous. That's LoneAmorphous. My Instagram is the official Amorphous. My TikTok is official Amorphous. My SoundCloud is official Amorphous. And if you just search an Amorphous on YouTube, you'll find me somewhere. You'll probably see Sunshine. So that's where you can find me.
Hello. Yeah. So also before we go, fan names. What did we come? I saw you had them. It was like 4 different ones. I said more platters because I thought it was funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But have you figured out which way you're going?
I don't know because the fans are so indecisive. Those were the most popular ones. And then when I put the 4 in there, everybody's like, don't choose those. And so I'm just like, you know what? At this point, I'm going to just call y'all fans and supporters for now. I'll come up with the title on my own and figure it out.
That's it. Boom. Thank you.
Exactly. That's the biggest thing.
And before we leave as well, are you going to be working on your own album coming up soon?
I'll say this. I've been working on an album that I've been producing for about 4 or 5 years now. And it was going to come out in 2017. Then it was going to come out in 2018. You know, everything was getting delayed. You know, getting vocalists on my productions was not an issue. But now that I have the eyes on me and people really can see at industry large that I have an ear and that I can actually produce, I'm not just little mixer mashup dude. Oh, trust me, that thing is coming. So you'll hear some really like cool like releases from me in the next couple of months, and that'll lead forward to a full project. And I cannot wait for y'all to hear it. I think y'all are going to be really, really happy with it, and very exciting full album from Amorphous.
Listen, I'm once again, the town, the world, everybody's so proud of you for bringing all this energy, and it's going to continue on to the new year and beyond. Very bright future. We got Amorphous in the building. Thank you once again for coming through and blessing our airways, man, and the YouTube and everything, man. We really appreciate it, man.
Thank you so very much for the opportunity, and I wish y'all all the best. Everyone stay safe, wear your mask, just be careful, and let's have a positive 2021 as much as we possibly can.
That's it, baby. We out of here. We're going to holler at y'all.
Bye.